Hi, welcome to Exploring the Illusion of Free Will. My name is George Ortega. I'm here with my co-host Enel. Enel, good to see you.
Condition response number one.
Okay. All right.
I started that. I like that.
We are on program episode number 108, No Free Will and Compensation. But before we get to our main theme, we're going to do what we always do because this topic isn't so easy for some people to understand. And we also want to talk about why this is so amazingly important to your personal life, to the world, to the future. Okay, let's start with what we mean when we say free will. When people say they have a free will, what are they saying?
That people have the magical ability to rise above their genetics, nature and nurture, or genetics and how they were raised and conditioning, and are able to make decisions 100% independent of their genetics and conditioning.
Right, and let's repeat that. Basically,
it's totally insane. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It's impossible.
What people are saying is regardless of how they were raised, regardless of the genetics, the genes that actually make up over 50% of personality, because that's how with these twin studies, they study identical twins.
It doesn't matter if it's 99% genetics, 1% conditioning, or the 100% pie is taken. There's no room for free will.
I'm trying to explain that.
All right.
So basically what Enel is saying is what I'm saying is if you've got any influence, even 1% influence from either genetics, from how your parents brought you up, what you learned or didn't learn, and that influence is taking part in your decision, or even it's just taking part and making you who you are, you don't have a free will. You cannot make we're getting into why we can't now, but you can't make a decision free of that stuff, because that stuff is what makes you who you are, and that who you are is what makes you decide. Let's describe free will in another way. Some people say, well, we have free will because we make choices. Now that's not what free will is, all right? That's, basically what this show is about. It's not about making choice, because we make choices all the time, but what we're saying is our choices are not free from genetics conditioning, or not free from causality, which is the fundamental reason why we don't have a free will. Okay, are not free from our unconscious. We can get into that. All right, I think you kind of understand. Free will is not about choice. We make choices all the time. It's about these choices.
It's about free choice.
Yes. All right.
Yes, so many people say they make choices, so they have free will.
And it's not. Some people say free will is choosing what I want to choose. Well,
you can choose what you want. You can choose preferences. You can't choose what you prefer.
Exactly. If
you can desire your desires. You can't choose what you desire.
Right. And another way of saying that,
you can be angry, but you can't choose what you're angry at. I mean, it's
exactly. If you say, I have free will because I can choose to want what I want, or I can choose what I want. You can't choose what you want, because your desires, your preferences.
You can choose what you want. You just can't choose what you want, right? That's how you say it.
Right, your preferences. In other words, you're choosing what you want because of some reason, some want or desire.
You can choose your preferences. You just can't choose what you prefer.
Right.
Go ahead. I like the way you said that.
All right. Why is this so very important? Why?
Yes, that's good. Yeah. Go ahead.
All right.
Why is this so important?
The reason this is so important, because our world, almost everybody throughout the world, politics, education, religion, business, relationships, everybody has
criminal justice system.
Our world completely wrong. We couldn't be more deluded. If somebody went around thinking they were like the reincarnation of Napoleon, that'd be more
saner.
Likely.
That'd be saner than, yeah.
Absolutely. If that person believed that they didn't have a free will, whatever. But so you have the entire world completely deluded about who we are as human beings. We think that stuff is up to us. Absolutely nothing is up to us. The delusion couldn't be more profound and significant to everything.
It's so pervasive. It's like the air that we breathe, or the water that fish breathe. I mean, fish don't even know they're in water. It's so pervasive. This free will thing is all over us. It's a mythical monster of the times that we live in. It's unbelievably huge. It's all over the place. It's a monster.
And people will say sometimes,
and a false monster.
Yeah,
it's a myth. It's Bigfoot or unicorn.
People don't
or
realize
dragon.
the reason we believe in
Fairy
free
tale.
will. Yes,
People like to believe in it.
the reason we believe in free will isn't because we feel like we have a free will, isn't because like we experience a free will in our life, because we're going to get into this a little. People say that. People say, I have a free will. Of course I have a free will.
What's
The
the reason?
reason people believe they have a free will is because they've been taught by the church, by philosophy, by the culture that they have a free will. Because you want to know something? The Greeks not only they didn't even have a word for will.
I think people believe in free will because of the hedonic imperative. It makes them feel better about themselves. If they felt better about themselves not believing it, people do whatever they feel.
What I'm saying,
they go towards pleasure and away from pain.
I know, but what I'm saying is
much better to not
some
believe in free will.
some people say that free will is an intuitive feeling, is an intuitive experience. We feel like we have a free will. We don't. Here's what happens. We make a choice. We don't stop to think to ourselves, was that choice free of my genes and my genetics? Was that choice free of circumstances and conditions and factors over which I don't have control? Nobody ever thinks that way. A philosopher might think that way. St. Augustine, St. Paul, Spinoza thought that way.
Most philosophers get this wrong.
Yeah, I know.
Einstein gets it right. We got Einstein on us. Besides Sam Harris, we got Einstein.
He starts our show now,
Einstein?
As you're prompting. You were the cause of that. Enel told
Einstein did not believe in free will.
Enel told me.
There's no greater mind.
Yes, he told me, listen, this guy Searle, who says that,
Oh, thank God you got rid of that.
Overcoming this illusion would be bigger than Einstein.
The problem is no one's heard of Searle,
well, but let me tell you something for Searle. John Searle, he's the 13th most cited philosopher.
Okay, but Einstein, Searle, come on.
All right, whatever.
All right,
but it's a good idea. Okay. All right, this show is going to be interesting because,
very interesting.
We're at the stage right now where we have to demonstrate to the world, explain to the world why free will is completely impossible. Now, one of the problems that we face is that human beings, as science is showing now, we're not very rational in our thinking. We have what's called motivated reasoning. We reason not based on logic and facts a lot. We reason based on our desires and our fears and stuff. Our limbic system takes over and it just overrides our reasoning. So, the topic today is free will and compensation. Let's say everybody gets, that free will is an illusion. How is our world going to change? For example, you've got two people. One person, through no fault of their own, wasn't educated very well, wasn't given the genes to be very smart, whatever. So he doesn't do very well in school and on jobs, whatever. He makes very little money, not so successful. Another person, completely, out of their control, is given great genes. The person's a genius. It's given an amazing education, amazing experiences, whatever, and they start earning billions. Okay, so now that's the question. So if everybody gets that nothing is up to any of us, are we going to continue to reward someone, giving someone billions and another person very little for something over which they had no control? Now, start us off.
Okay, so I'm going to prove right now that I don't have free will because I don't really have a good answer for this right at the moment. I haven't studied it. And people, I can't steal a line from this guy or steal a line. I haven't, usually people steal. I don't have a really good answer for this. I would say that since the resources, this is my first crack at this. This is a very tricky. So you're asking me, how are we going to divide up the world's resources in a non-free will paradigm world, right?
Yes.
I think we'd have to go into act-as-if mode and pragmatically reward people and punish people the exact same way we're doing it now because there are finite resources, and you're going to suggest, well, if there's no free will, then everybody should get the exact same. But then I would say to you,
you're not going to, wait, let me.
Why would someone get a nice view of nature in a hotel room and someone else facing the park? There has to be some sort of pragmatic hierarchy, so I don't think anything would change except in our consciousness knowing not to blame other people, so we'd have blameless responsibility, but the money would still be, money is still a finite resource.
I hear you.
The Federal Reserve raises.
Let me pose.
It's
you are in this example. You are the Federal Reserve. You are a parent, and one of your kids is the first one I described, didn't, for some reason maybe got the genes from your wife or
Just
something.
want to say one thing. If I had free will, I'd be able to answer this exactly perfectly.
I know.
Since
So
it's the
would I.
first time hearing it, I'm proving that I don't have free will because I haven't read other people and figured out what to say.
And
Yeah.
to be completely honest,
I would like to steal a line from somebody right now, but I haven't heard anybody discuss it.
Basically, what we're saying, though, nobody has really thought much into this. A few people, Dirk Pereboom, this guy Paul Breer, has thought this through a bit. But essentially, we're presenting this because this is one of the things that's going to have to be thought through, if our world is going to change. So, all right. So, you've got limited resources, okay?
No, I'm Earth. Earth has limited.
No, but I'm talking about, with this example,
I'm the Federal Reserve?
You're a parent. You've
I'm
got
a parent.
limited income, whatever, right? And one of your kids, maybe it was your wife's fault, maybe it was your parents' fault, whatever, didn't receive the best of genes from you, okay? The kid just wasn't all that bright, whatever, not his fault. And the other kid, just for some reason that's not your, doing either, just is much, much brighter, okay? So the first kid just doesn't do all that well, whatever, in school and stuff. The second kid, straight A's and all. So, are you going to tell me that, in terms of, buying them clothes, in terms of giving them their allowance, you're going to, give one of your kids, your bright kid, 10, 100, 1,000 times more of these limited resources that you earn simply because they were lucky to have better genes?
Well, I would be ruled by the hedonic imperative. Whatever, I would do trial and error conditioning. This is the first I've heard of this. I would do trial and error conditioning, and whatever made me, I would meditate a lot, and whatever made me feel best about myself, I would continue to do. So if I gave the bright kid more money, and I went home and meditated, and I felt terrible about myself, then I would give more to the dumber kid, and then if I gave more to the dumber kid to compensate for, and I meditated and felt better about that, then hedonic imperative will rule me. So whatever makes me feel best about myself, less depressed, I will continue to do. There's nothing wrong with that.
All right, the kids want to go skiing, okay? The one that you give all this money for because you meditated and, it's bright, whatever you feel they deserve, if you did that, has got the money to go skiing. The other one doesn't. Does that sound fair to you? Just because the kid is not as smart as the other one, he doesn't get enough money to go skiing?
No, I'd probably give them equal amounts.
All right.
But if one kid, if I wasn't doing well in my business and my older son, the smarter one, I felt could make a lot of money on his own, and the other one was a lost cause, my survival instinct or my hedonic imperative would kick in, and I would start favoring the kid that can increase my peace of mind, my
excellent
survival.
point.
It's all hedonic imperative.
But it's just reasonable also. In other words, if you got
it's
two
evolutionary
kids,
psychology.
if you're going to hand your business, you're going to retire from your business.
I want my kid to take care of me.
And yeah, you've got a choice between the kid who isn't all that bright,
and
not his fault,
retarded kid, yeah.
and he's not retarded.
Just call him retarded. So
no, he's not.
Einstein versus retarded.
No, because retarded used to be all right. It's not a good word anymore.
Okay.
So
the
basically,
bright
the
one
kid
and the
is just
dumb
not
one.
Bright. He's unintelligent. All right, he's got
I would start favoring the bright one because of my own self-interest.
Basically, what I'm saying, no. In the example that you just
cited,
cited,
it's my no free will talking. I can't help it.
Your example, you're
example.
retiring from your business.
Thank God.
Okay, and you're not going to give it to the kid who isn't all that bright because, basically you want the kid who will do the best job. So basically what I'm saying is we need doctors, we need engineers, we need physicists.
But if there's no free will,
we're not going to put the less bright kids in those positions. We will give those positions to the kids who are better able to adopt them, to handle them.
And they need motivation.
But we're not going to give these doctors, these engineers, these physicists astronomically more salaries than the other person for something over which they had no control. In other words, we can be pragmatic and fair at the same time.
You got to look at what's the most useful in a finite energy resource or finite resource planet or finite environment. You have to do what is most pragmatic, most useful, most conventional. Because if you don't, you'll be wasting resources, and they're finite. Money is finite. It's not. Even though the Federal Reserve raises the amount of money, the money supply, it's finite. So why, if even without free will, the universe has compelled me to pragmatically pursue efficient states of how I use my energy, meaning money and attention.
I'm going to present.
Why waste everything?
I'm going to present you a very, very profound and important reason why this free will illusion is dangerous to civilization. Yes, because basically.
What you talking about, George?
I'll tell you why. Yes, under the free will perspective, a person, because they earned their income, their money of their own free will is entitled.
We got to do a lot of shows on this. This is a great topic.
Yes, is entitled to earn as much as possible, 10 billion, 20 billion, 30 billion. Now here's the problem. So you've got a person who might actually be a psychopath, because a lot of these CEOs, the reason they make so much money is because they don't care. So you've got this billionaire, this 10, 20 billionaire psychopath person, and he's like controlling these resources. He doesn't believe, he doesn't want to believe that climate change is happening, all right? So he invests hundreds of millions, perhaps several billions, into confusing the whole population that climate change isn't happening. So we segue 10, 20 years into the future. There's no civilization to be, because climate change has gotten out of control, all because we're giving this person so much money based on this illusion of free will. No, because if
let's get
people,
to the topic.
No. If people understood that nobody had a free will, then there would be no reason, and there would be no reason to give that person that much and the discretion to use it, and there would be a lot of reasons not to give it to them, especially considering that they didn't really quote unquote earn it.
So you're saying a society where everybody gets it, there's no free will, we're all going to earn exactly the same amount of money?
That's a good question, because essentially, I don't think I'm saying that, because for example,
how would you determine who gets more money and who gets less?
All right.
If nothing's up to us.
These are the questions that we're going to have to answer.
These are brilliant questions.
Yeah, so
it's the first I'm hearing of. We have to have 15 to 20 shows on this.
All right, so you got a surgeon. You got a surgeon.
I mean, it's brilliant.
Right,
this is what it's going to come down to, the economic system.
You got a surgeon.
Everybody's so greedy and loves money.
Surgeon goes to 4 years bachelor's, 4 years grad, 8 years med school, whatever.
Internships,
works 12 hours a day, saves 10 lives a day at least.
Heart surgery, brain surgery.
Yeah, it may make sense to, it seems to make sense if the person's putting out more effort, doing more work.
He's not. He doesn't have free will. It's no more effort than anybody.
No. I'm not saying
just as easy for him as a kid who plays video games all day and smokes pot and does nothing.
No. What I'm saying is
free will.
What I'm saying, for example, you have two people, okay, same abilities, same intellect, whatever. If one person works 2 hours, another person works 4, it stands to reason the person who works 4 should make more money, because they're contributing more. And the reason I say this, so with the surgeon.
But if there's no free will, they're not. It's not up to them how much they're contributing.
All right. Well, in this case, in this scenario that I'm saying is it's not up to them, but
I think the economic system should stay just the same. What's going to change is the subconscious 0.001% butterfly effect of how we treat each other in the same It's just faded who makes the money. A-Rod was born to certain parents. He's great at baseball. He was. Okay, forget A-Rod. Who's the next big superstar? LeBron James. Okay, he's the new guy. Okay. Somebody who's a very low job, a shoe shine guy, and LeBron James. If there's no free will, in theory, they should make the same amount of money. But I don't see any system where the greater good. There's a market rate. It's all pragmatic. It's all based on, I guess, pragmatism. I don't know. It's
yes, but again, if you give a few $billion
luck
to a person who was lucky, okay, and with that money,
what's the market rate? LeBron is getting TV dollars.
No, I'm not.
Advertising. He's helping the I can't remember, Miami Heat win. He won last year. It's how good he is in the entertainment value. The shoe shine guy, but it's not their. The thing is, without free will, they didn't choose their lives, so it's kind of unfair. But maybe the shoe shine guy's happier. You never thought it. You're just looking at money.
All right.
Then who's happier now? Junior Searle committed suicide. He was a great football player. I mean, I'm just saying, other people who.
In fairness, if
they're miserable millionaires.
All right. The fundamental fact here is that, in fairness, if we want to be fair, if nobody's in control of anything, the baseline fundamental fairness criteria should be that everyone on the planet gets the same salary. Okay, that should be the baseline. Now, if you're saying, if somebody has more abilities, like a surgeon, like a basketball player, that's resulting in people, for example, enjoying themselves more, living, whatever, we might want to take account for that, especially if that talent, being a basketball player, being a surgeon,
I think everything should stay the same, but people will tell each other he was just fated to do so. So you're telling me that if we become super famous, super popular, and write best-selling books, Let's forget us. Sam Harris, who does not believe in free will, should he not be taking any of the money from his best-selling book, Free Will?
All right, you're talking now versus the future. Right now, when we have a world that rewards what you and I are doing, we deserve a Nobel Prize for this.
But no free will, it's not up to us.
But what I'm saying is
pragmatically, we do deserve more. I agree with the system.
We deserve a Nobel Prize because we're doing something so amazingly useful and revolutionary.
But we're not doing anything. We don't have free will. We're just molecules and chemicals.
What I'm trying to say to you is that we have the world the way it is now.
We need more shows.
So basically, according to the way the world is now, yes, we deserve and we should get a Nobel Prize. And yeah, the basketball players should get paid more and all. But if once everybody gets this, it's a different world. It's not the same world. Once after that, so we may get the Nobel Prize, but we wouldn't get the $1 million necessarily. You know, a billionaire there wouldn't be the rationale to have one person have so much control over that money just because they quote unquote earned it because it wasn't their free will.
People get what the market can bear. There's a market rate for LeBron James, for whatever guy you're talking about, oil tycoon, Saudi Arabian prince, Prince William, you, me. There's a market rate that was set by the universe, so it's pragmatic, and it is what it is. It's what's fated for each person. So even if there's no free will, as far as economic dollars and cents go, who gets paid, you're going to have to act as if there's free will, all the while knowing secretly that there is no free will. You're not going to just say everybody gets the same salary.
Are you saying that
they tried that in communism? It doesn't work. People feel superior.
Let's take this back to you're the parent. You're saying you're going to give your intelligent son 100, 1,000 times.
What if I told you there were multiple lives and all evens out in the long run?
100, 1,000 times the allowance as the unintelligent child. You know, you would do that as a parent?
I'm going to do whatever makes me feel the best about myself. Hedonic imperative.
That wouldn't be fair, though. You said it before. It wouldn't be fair to reward one child.
I'll do whatever I feel is the most fair that makes me feel the best about myself.
I realize that, but thinking about it right now, can you imagine that
it'd have to be a day-to-day, moment-to-moment thing,
how I felt. It might not feel so fair to give the bright child 1,000 times the allowance of the not-so-bright child. I mean, that makes sense. It wouldn't seem fair. It isn't fair. It isn't fair. So that's what I'm saying. So you might want to give him. Let's say,
if we could one day prove there are multiple lives, maybe it all washes out as even Steven in the long run. So maybe you're a peasant in India one life, then you're a rocket scientist in Japan, then you're a mogul, Donald Trump-like guy, or LeBron James. Then you go back to being in Africa, a peasant in the Sudan. I mean, in this earthly life, it looks terribly. If no free will, which we know doesn't exist. It's totally unfair.
Right. Oh, that's what I'm saying. So, all right.
But then again, you got millionaires who are miserable, and poor people who are very happy. So you can't just go by economics. You got to go by mood.
Yeah, I know, but that's like
you got to go by mood.
You got like one half of the planet living on $2 a day or less.
They might enjoy their lives more. You don't know.
Their kids are dying at the rate of 30,000 a day.
I don't know what the suicide rate is in the Congo. Democratic People's Republic of Central Africa.
We're saying, all right, all
things. Do you know the suicide rates in Western Europe? Scandinavia, America, Canada, probably higher than in sub-Saharan Africa. You don't know that.
What I'm saying is
why invade a country?
This illusion of free will is causing this huge disparity in wealth and income, not just among individuals, but among.
But you don't know the misery index.
Dude, if you've got 30,000 kids dying every day in the world, these parents are suffering. They couldn't be happy with that, and so if we use this free will issue to equalize
I would
salaries,
have to interview the parents and say, how much suffering do you feel suicidal, or how? I mean, you got people. I mean, they might just be playing soccer in the desert. You don't know how miserable they are. They don't have to have the faster and faster version of PlayStation. They don't go to a pharmacy and have 45 choices.
I understand your point.
And they don't go to a grocery. I got 30 choices of cereal today.
Before I did the show, I did a happiness show.
Yeah,
I did
too much choices,
almost 140 episodes. There was a survey in 2004 that they conducted what the happiest countries in the world. This is to demonstrate your point. In 2004, Nigeria, Venezuela, El Salvador, Mexico, and Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico's not really a country. Were the happiest quote unquote countries in the world back then. So your point is well taken.
Know that?
They've asked people. So your point is well taken. Money doesn't
not allowed to say that I
necessarily
went to Cuba.
money doesn't.
I've seen people dancing in
money
the streets of
doesn't
very poor
necessarily lead to greater happiness. That having been said, you still have 1/3 of the world living on $2 or less a day. You know, just their kids dying, 30,000 every day. So basically, all right, you may not want to. You may still
Yeah,
want
and
to.
trust fund kids are shooting up, snorting cocaine all day in Beverly Hills, and anorexia. I mean, come on.
All right,
You
this
don't
is
know
like
who's happier and who's sadder.
all right. Now,
miserably.
this is a perfect example of what our world is going to confront.
Trust fund babies have nothing to do all day. Of course, they're on drugs.
As we
What do you
as
think
we
they're doing?
as we as a world come to understand that free will is an illusion, we're going to be doing this. Now, here's the thing. Now, Enel and I
Wait, this is the first I've heard of it. This
we're
is a very
debating
topical
vigorously on this,
We are.
right? But like, hopefully we're debating civilly because, like, I don't blame Enel for his opinions and thoughts and stuff. He doesn't blame me for mine because we're operating under this no free will perspective.
The only other solution is everyone gets the same exact salary.
Well, again,
Did you read Animal Farm? That doesn't work. People start cheating and doing things and feeling superior, and Napoleon and Snowball and
Animal Farm and communism didn't work because they replaced the rich class with the party members. You know,
right. So if you give everybody the same exact of salary because there's no free will, it's just not going. It's not pragmatic.
No, it could work. Considering
There's
climate
more
change, let me
expensive
tell you
real
something.
estate because of nature that people who will get it.
Our global economy is based on consumerism to a great extent.
That's right.
Consumerism is probably the greatest threat to our planet because of climate change.
We have no choice
So-
but to not believe in free will, but act as if economically we have it, and we all wink, wink, no. This blameless. It's how we treat each other. It's gonna. You want to change the economic system? Okay, tell the people how in 1 minute.
Well, basically, the baseline is like, since nobody's in control of anything, we start out with a baseline, equal salary for everyone. Now, there's again, if you're a surgeon, if you're a soldier, if you have jobs that nobody wants, you're a street cleaner, whatever, you might get more because you're doing something that nobody really wants to do.
And how are you going to determine that rate?
I don't know, but it wouldn't be that much. In other words, a surgeon wouldn't be getting that much more than a cashier. Maybe some to encourage some kind of motivation, but
But you're saying the sewage guy, right, should get paid more because the job is so unpleasant, for example, or the dead body guy. But since he doesn't have free will, he doesn't find it unpleasant. So you're back to the same position.
No, because
he loves it. He loves the smell of garbage.
Dude, I don't have a free will, but if that needed to be done, I'd have to do it. Somebody'd have to do it. I wouldn't like it.
But the guy whose life's purpose it is to do it doesn't think it's unpleasant at all.
Ladies and gentlemen, see
what I'm saying?
No. So
if it's his life purpose, there's no free will to be a sewage cleaner guy. Or
some jobs have to be done not because people like them. All right, that's all we have time
gotta talk
for.
about this again.
We'll talk soon.